Good morning, good day. Suresh Singh, civil engineer, chartered engineer, professional engineer, international engineers, buildings, RCC, oil, plants, refinery projects, and author, speaker, whatever it is. Thank you all for your time. Continuation of safety issue, SHE ergonomics, which is very significant, as I told many times before, very significant in life of everybody. Safety and its considerations. We cannot neglect or ignore this issue in every field, in every branch, and you can say every professional standing or traditional standing where human works and where machine operate. This is very significant from professional, traditional, and occupational viewpoint, where injuries can happen, where accidents can happen, and nobody likes to accept injuries and accidents. We have to be very careful about this, and most money goes to development works of every nation. About 60-70% money goes to development activities, which activities involves construction of nation, construction of infrastructure, construction of buildings, construction of roads, construction of railways, airport, and so many other requirements which make a nation, make a society, make one economy. And we are all part of that. In these, there is domination of various resources, and major resources are human resources and machine resources along with or material resources. Materials are dealt by human and machine. Machines can also result in accidents if not properly organized and operated. Similarly, human resources are there in hundreds to thousands and more than that on every location. Wherever some projects move, when there are so many people when they work together, there are chances of miscommunication and there are chances of misunderstanding or misrepresentation. These can lead to certain kind of accidental injuries and fatality of due to accidents. We have to understand all this. This much money has to be spent on these activities without which no nation can move. If we don't spend like that, or we used not to spend on that, we would have stayed in jungles and forests, and cities and villages or countryside and whatever you call it, residence, home, accommodation, or city, urban area, rural area, or in between area, suburban area. All these are due to development. Railways move, flights move, all due to development. And safety is involved and everywhere. We cannot deny this fact. We have to consider this fact in our calling, in our research, in our taking into consideration. Otherwise, we certainly shall have to miss some standard and important with significant degree of, you can say, access into that kind of world of safety world. SHE, that is full form, is safety, health, and environment, keeping in view proportioning of ergonomics power to our life. Ergonomics is a power, that is energy, unit of energy, and that everybody gets, has, develops in body and mind and soul. And we use that in our activities every day, and that is very significant to understand how we can use it or how we can destroy it, because energy of course can convert its form to some other form. It can never be destructed, but I am saying destroyed because from point of view which I wanted to use, that it cannot be used in that point of view, and that's why it said that it can be destroyed to that extent and goes to somewhere else. My point of contention is in this talk, that in this safety discussion, because I am linked to my world of construction development, and we have certain, you can say, certain usable areas and certain writings and chapters that I have included for purpose of conference for purpose of deliberations, for purpose of understanding and let people understand that, and that is regarding safety policy, management system, site security, hand tools, first aid regulations, permit to work, housekeeping, safety training, emergency and evacuation plan, fire protection, PPE, that is personal protective equipment, excavation safety, control, storage and use of hazardous materials, incident reporting, lifting, rigging and hoisting, radiography operations, night working, scaffolds and ladders, temporary electric supply, welding and cutting, working at heights and fall prevention, abrasive wheels, construction environment control, hazardous controls, confined space entry, road safety and vehicles operation, reward system, compressed gas cylinder, heat stress, safe practices, disciplinary enforcement, safe work, inspection and audits, plants facility projects, construction safety, relevant sketches, organization chart. This I have been included based on my collection of materials during my experience on projects, as well as addition of many other points like weather conditions, like bad weather, and like many other issues in life that impact upon this. For example, ECUs in homes and whatever it is, all that I plan with your support to deliberate so that we can move somewhere ahead. So I can say that everybody should be responsible for that. It is not simply that I am responsible or you're responsible. I have already talked on issues of last many many, you can say, safety policy we have talked about, management system we have conferred with, site security we have conferred with, hand tools we have conferred with, and first aid regulations we have done. So I start with permit to work in this talk, which is very significant point. Permit to talk, permit to work, because work permit is essential on projects of engineering, construction of vast scale, where technologies are involved and where mega projects are involved, and that is very important. And before that, I would like to discuss about safety issues, which are everybody has to understand. You cannot take it lightly because life depends upon safety, existence and works depend upon safety, and work means economy, because when we work, we produce. We say factory is working, product is being produced, and this is plant is working. A plant doesn't mean a small plant. This means a plant where delivery of material from raw material to useful material is done. For example, we pull from platforms in sea offshore projects raw oil from beneath sea, and that oil is transported to seashore, from where it goes to refinery, and from there it is processed further to get it into useful diesel, petrol, or LNG, or whatever else you can say, from raw material to useful material, and that's called processing. And it is called offshore to onshore. Distance means we collect raw material at offshore, where platforms on ships are available, and we go down 4 kilometer to 5 kilometer or whatever distance we are, where this reservoir is available. We pull out, we pump out from those basaltic layer and below, that is raw material, and it is transported to seashore, and that's onshore, where refineries are installed, and these refineries are known as plants. This contains many hundreds of structures or vessels on which we sit our machines and equipment, and process continues in position of trains. Many trains are available, and this raw material is converted by long process into useful materials. Raw materials is converted to useful materials, and that is called activity of plants. And these plants also produce some byproducts which cannot be used directly, but these are, for example, this produces cracking gas, this produces ethane, propane, or you can say many types of gases, ammonia gas, and various types of other disposal house, which are further tried to be used for producing something else. For example, we produce ethylene we produce, and methane produce, which we are used for plastic industry, where plastics are produced. bags are produced, many other HDE, HDP, high density polyethylene, low density polyethylene, etc., or medium density polyethylene are produced, which are used on various life day-to-day life processing. For example, we say tubs are produced, plastic tubs and plastic bottles, and you can say plastic jugs and whatever the plastic tanks, all these are from the bioproduct of these refined materials, and that is why we are going to understand why it is done. And these all chemicals we should not forget. These are based on hydrocarbons which we receive from raw material, and then we use this for ourselves. This is just behind the technology I'm talking. It's nothing to do with safety comes in picture when we work on that. When we construct refinery or we construct sub projects of that, their labors are involved, their gases are involved, their machines are involved, their lot of work is involved. Millions of cubic meter of concrete is involved, millions and millions of cubic meter of earthwork is involved, and hundreds of machines, heavy equipments are involved, and thousands of workers are involved on certain big projects and mega projects. And that is what I'm saying about that. I had to work on some ethylene plant that was 600 kTA, no, it was 2000 to 2003, and how thousands of workers were there, and it was about to 2 kilometer by 1 kilometer size and near sea, and we had to do a lot of work in that. Many areas were there. For example, administrative area was there, processing plant area was there, infrastructure area was there, and many other areas were there. There were so many substations and so many foundations for structures and compressors and wash water and boilings, boilers, and many other, you can say, hundreds of machines or vessels are available there, and we had to do all activities there which required maintenance of safety and upkeep of safety there. And we have to learn like that. Safety, we have to learn there. Quality system, we have to learn there. Executions, we have to learn there. Then other system will come, coordination, all this system, we have to, then sailing and all that, and seawater circulation system, we have to collect sea from, we collect water from sea for purpose of boiling, and when we, for the 84-inch pipeline is used for that purpose, and that water is brought to this reservoir, which is seawater basin. From there, this water is circulated to various areas where machines are working, and heat is produced to keep that area cooling water cool again, and circulation of that, and then into all plants, and after that, many use of circulation it is disposed of. And that's what is, you can say, the water circulation on this, and water circulation and fire controls and many other controls, gases disposal and all that. If so means that this kind of projects are very, very big. There's no scope in this to talk about that, but I just inform you that's only objective, that's only destiny where we want to talk, we want to use this safety for, and the safety applies for everything. It's not simply worker safety, safety against fire. There should be no fire in plant because there are chances in export. Evaporation is there for all gases, and it can go to by some other reason, chemical reason, there can be explosion of fire, and once fire explodes, there's no way to combat it. It can be combated only by itself, but we have to do a lot of work on that. So we say that safety is very big concern everywhere. We is everywhere in general life as well as in professional life as well as in traditional life. We have to take into consideration that it exists everywhere. Even if you walk on a stair, there's safety requirement. Even if you cross a road and you on pedestrian, safety is required. And even if you cross a road without pedestrian, there more safety is required. And safety is required not only by walk on pedestrian but also by car drivers, auto drivers, and all those who are working on road. But they should care about human beings are working, because first we are human beings, then we are drivers, operators. And it's even in your home when you are dealing with gas cylinder, it is involved. We are taking gas cylinder and you are fixing it, and you are using it many times, and yeah, there's so many other activities where safety is about how you are sitting in the chair, how you are working on the computer, how you are taking your food, how you are taking rest, what are your various stages of working a day, how many hours you are sleeping, how many hours you are not sleeping, how you are means utilizing your energy to various activities of life, and that is also related to safety work. And safety is not simply saying that safety is safety. Safety is energy, safety is health, and health is safety is health, and health is environment, and environment. All this leads to use of energy and having good life, healthy life. So I will start with saying permit to work, and permit to work, let us say, same contents are there because it's scope and purpose and definitions and responsibilities and instructions and references and attachments. It's like a method statement, as we used to like that. A method statement is required for each and every specific topic or activity, which is a major one. So scope, for example, in this states that procedure, this method statement or procedure covers implementation of permit to work system to be applied to specific temporary, permanent construction, pre-commissioning and commissioning works carried out under control of EPC contractor as at consortium. Safe including site, construction site, including subcontractor works. So we talk about this, and yes, yeah, it says that purpose of this procedure is to provide a safe system of work. Purpose of this procedure is to provide a safe system of work for construction, pre-commissioning, and commissioning activities at project site. PTW PTW ensures a control over construction by operating authority in case project is located within its jurisdiction. Live services often run within such areas that require certainly protection from damages due to construction activities. Permit to work PTW informs short forms called assist in performing such preventive measures. Definitions, for example, safety means safety, health and environment disciplines to support project activities. Company means the organization carrying out or prosecuting project. Contractor means the organization that has one project from client. Subcontractor means the organization that has one part of project work from content contracting organization. And client means the organization and title company in contractual term that has entrusted project to organization of contractors. Personal means all personnel to work or personnel involved on project site activities. Responsibility means job and contract responsibility. Training means training imparted for specific safety topic on job on project site. Management means organization, top, middle, and lower management. Safety means a person. Safety manager means a person with a job title. Safety manager deployed by certain organization. Project manager means a person as such with PM of title deployed by contractor. Engineer means a person appointed by client or a client company for an overall project responsibility. So, area authority is a EPC contractor authorized person with responsibility for controlling work in a defined area. HSE supervisor means EPC contractor HSE person designated by HSE manager to implement and oversee permit to work system. And task supervisor is designated EPC contractor or subcontractor nominated individual responsible for supervising and controlling tasks that requires a permit. Then competent person means electrical, for example, a competent person who has been approved to deisolate electrical equipment up to and including a predetermined voltage. Competent person mechanical means a competent person who is approved to carry out preparation and mechanical isolation of process equipment. Competent person pre-commissioning, commissioning, a competent person who is approved by a systems engineer to carry out pre-commissioning and commissioning of process equipment. As the responsibility is general respecting certain contract positions. I will repeat it because I have done it, but for refreshing you and for so that it moves every time in every chapter. So project manager responsible for overall obligations to provide schedule, all resources, direction, engineering solutions. The site manager responsible for overall site prosecution, management over works and subcontractors. Site safety officer responsible for overall safety management on site and report to project manager, site manager, corporate safety manager. Construction manager responsible to arrange all safety related resources and provide site team all requirements. Project site engineer responsible to carry out safety issues within section. Site safety inspector engineer responsible to supervise safety measures on site and control safety issues should bring to site line management to adopt correct measures. Site foreman responsible for compliance of safety measures as standards or as directed. An individual working on site organization responsible to maintain safety measures. In case missing should bring to site team attention. Responsibilities. Site manager shall have an overall responsibility for ensuring that all works are carried out safely and for implementation of safe system of work across site. EPC contractors as a site HSE manager shall be responsible for implementation of permit to work scheme for this site. EPC contract area controlling authority operator shall have responsibility responsibility for controlling works on a defined area. Such authority shall be authorized to issue to close permit to work. EPC contractor project supervisor shall be responsible for raising a permit to work, supervising and controlling works in a safe manner in compliance with requirements indicated on work permit. Instructions. Area authority. Now this is regarding instructions for area authority, company area. Site manager shall appoint an adequate number suitably qualified personnel in area authority for designated works who should monitor and be responsible for all works in respective area, including processing application to obtain authorization or permit to work. List of areas of authorities shall be subject to periodic review published on a regular basis to all relevant parties, namely that is engineer, personnel, EC, EPC, key personnel and change possible and okay. List of area authorities shall be subject to periodic review, be published on a regular basis to all relevant parties, that is engineer, personnel, EPC, key personnel and subcontractors, etc. HSE supervisor. HSE supervisor shall endorse copy of each permit and allocate permit. APC permit control number, top right corner. This number shall be unique for each permit. Allocate permit. HSE supervisor shall endorse copy of each permit and allocate permit. A EPC permit control and EPC permit control number, top right corner. This number shall be unique for each permit as recorded by HSE manager. Construction works shall be referred to this endorsed number. Further details shall be entered into a control log maintained by HSE supervisor. All applicable closures, etc. Discuss control log maintained and by HSE. All applicable enclosures are GN. Details shall be entered into control log maintained by HSE supervisor. All applicable enclosures, etc. Construction works method statement, traffic diversion, or other relevant document of significance shall be attached to permit. Okay. Now, work requiring permits. What type of works requiring permits? A permit shall cover a designated construction work area, activities, or areas such as interconnections. It shall be endorsed by all other disciplines task supervisors working area to ensure that all interfaces are connected in all areas. Work permit. A permit shall cover a designated construction work area activity or areas such as interconnections. It shall be endorsed by all other discipline task supervisors working in area to ensure that all interfaces are covered. Various permit to work shall be processed during pre-prosecution of project scope depending on context and operators requirement. Following a specified list of activities covering construction, pre-commissioning and commissioning works have been defined as typical, requiring as individual assessed in JA. JE. Site surveys to establish site marks. Site surveys to establish site survey marks, mobilization, temporary facilities, existing underground services, investigations, live electrical equipment related works, excavations works for foundations and for infrastructure services, underground utilities crossings, overhead work and power line related activities, heavy lift for equipment or other structural elements, interconnects internally as well as externally in plant areas, adjacent operations on work areas, hazardous flammable materials involvement, confined space vessel entry involved activities, hot work involving activity, pressurized pipeline works, live and energized systems and equipments released works, inert systems and equipment related activities, structural works activities, election work activities. Generally, permit work requirements shall be established either by a professor or by generally permit to work requirements shall be established either by a detailed review of proposed activity and acceptance of a safety method statement or by carrying out a risk analysis of work to be performed. Method statements and risk assessments where applicable shall be attached on authorized work permit applications. Permit considerations. Electrical installations. Area authority shall notify competent person electrical to carry out necessary isolations or confirm existing isolation before signing permit. Competent person shall complete project specific isolating certificate, attach certificate to permit form and enter isolation details. Isolation test confirmation is mandatory on permits. Lock and tag out procedures shall complete project specific isolating certificate, attach certificate to permit form and entry isolating details of details of isolation test confirmation is mandatory on permit. Lock and tag out procedures shall be implemented in line to comply with project procedure arrangements shall be made in accordance with employer's existing arrangements. Let me repeat again, it is very important. Electrical installation. Area authority shall notify competent person electrical to carry out necessary isolation or confirm existing isolation before signing permit. Competent person shall complete project specific isolation certificate, attach certificate to permit form and enter isolation details. Isolation test confirmation. It's mandatory on permit. Lock and tag out procedures shall be implemented to in line to comply with project procedure. Arrangements shall be made in accordance with employers' existing arrangements. Mechanical isolation. Area authority shall notify competent person mechanical responsible for mechanical isolation. Competent person shall coordinate with area authority, EPC, contractors in preparation of line diagrams identifying a spreading isolation point. Again, area authority shall notify competent person mechanical responsible for mechanical isolations. The competent person shall coordinate the area authority EPC contractor in the preparations of line diagrams, identifying spreading isolation points. Consideration shall be given to pressurizing and training out on lines, equipments in preparation for conducting mechanical isolations. Consideration shall be given to pressurizing and draining down lines equipment in preparation for conducting mechanical isolations. Lock and tag out procedures shall be implemented to in line to with in line to project specific procedures and where appropriate shall be examined. Now, commissioning. After full or partial system handover to commissioning that group shall be responsible for all permits issued to consent construction. After fulfill or partial system handover to commissioning that group shall be responsible for all permits issued to construction. External constructive constraints interconnections. Authority to person to permit shall be responsible for ensuring that all potential external constraints, namely buried services, adjacent activities, are fully identified, referred to upon permits, giving all necessary information to enable work to progress safely. When in doubt, authority shall indicate measures necessary, namely CAT scan to be conducted on CAT scan to be conducted to eliminate certain potential external constructions of which could which could then external constraints, again I am telling you, CAT scan is very important here. When in doubt, authority shall indicate measures necessary, namely CAT scan to be conducted to eliminate certain potential external constraints which could otherwise pose risk to work. All work shall be subject to compliance with all project HSE procedures, construction site HSE plan and standard safe practices. Third party permits. Third party permits issued to EPC contractor or subcontractors, suppliers shall be returned at end of each day to EPC contractor, area authority. There's no current. Third-party permits issued to EPC contractor or subcontractors, suppliers shall be returned at end of each day to EPC contractor area authority. Area authority shall check and confirm that all permit requirements are in place prior to returning permit for work to continue in designated areas. When protective equipment and precautions. When signing a permit, protective equipment requirements and precautions shall be identified by area authority in conjunction with activity supervisor, HSE representative, and in full compliance with project protect procedure regarding permit of working. When signing a permit, protective equipment requirements and precautions shall be identified by area authority in conjunction with activity supervisor, HSE representatives, and in full complete compliance with project's procedures regarding personal as well as other protective equipment. Vessel entry confined space. Entry permit shall only be issued after area has been inspected by a safety representative and signed by all relevant discipline engineers. Entry permit shall only be issued after area has been inspected by safety representative and signed by all relevant dis- minimum requirements demand adequate measures to be implemented and responses to emergencies are area authority in conjunction with HSC representative, let's say this again, vessel entry confined space, let me repeat it again. Entry permits shall only be issued after area has been inspected by safety representative and signed by all relevant discipline engineers. Minimum requirements demand adequate measures to be implemented and response to emergency civic services are not applied, are not involved. Minimum requirements demand adequate measures to be implemented and response to emergencies cover all personnel involved on operations. Requirements for confined spaces are outlined in confined space entry procedure. Gas test. Area authority in conjunction with HSE representative shall decide requirements for gas testing, results of gas test. Gas tests shall be performed by our HSE department and results be entered on permit to work or permit or relevant attachment prior to issue. HSC supervisor shall specify requirements for ongoing gas monitoring equipment test during variety period of work on permit form. Permit application. Application for a permit to work (PTW) shall be made by EPC contractor or subcontractor in charge supervisor who should complete A3 size permit to work format with included information relevant to scope of work to be performed. Permit shall then be taken to area authority and HSE representative for discussion, agreement and signature approval. Area authority shall make necessary arrangements for ensuring that all safety considerations have been made and met. This shall be ensured by inspecting through checklist and action sections contained in check boxes on permit application form. Hazard identification. Advise nature of hazards could that could falsely. Hazard identification. Advise nature of hazard that could encounter. Precautions cared for. Advise what specific measures to be adopted. Notification to affected persons. Officials' titles to be notified for actions. Protective equipment. Detail out all equipment to be used. Some other precautions required mention specific additional measures. Based on foreign input, based on foregoing input, area authority shall determine whether or not applied requirement categorizes under a confined space or under a vessel entry. Area authority shall make arrangements with HSE department for gas tests to be carried out prior to work commences and specific hmm, again authority shall make arrangements with HSA department for gas tests to be carried out prior to work commences in confined spaces, vessels, etc., which area deems to conduct a gas test. Area authority shall make arrangements with appropriate isolating authorities for electrical and mechanical isolations who would endorse permit in discipline respect discipline actions. Area authority shall make arrangements with appropriate isolation authorities for electrical and mechanical isolation who would endorse permit in respecting the systems. Then radiography section to be filled in by competent radiography supervisor or permit shall be applied for as soon as possible, but generally a minimum of 48 hours prior to commencement of work in that area. All right. Mm, Commencement. Now, how to commence this? Commencement signing out. Yes, no light is problem. I don't think I'll continue for long. So this is the development of this country. Commencement, signing in, signing on. Supervisor and area authority shall review permit with all necessary precautions to carry out work and supporting documents. When supervisor is satisfied, shall sign acceptance of terms and conditions set out on permit for works. On signing exception, uh, supervisor and area authority shall review permit with all necessary precautions to carry out work and supporting documents. When supervisor is satisfied, shall sign acceptance of terms and conditions set out on permit for works. On signing acceptance, supervisor accepts responsibility for work done, work area, ensuring them all members of workforce all also aware of made aware of conditions on permit to work, using both permit itself and following SMART system. After that, area authority shall then authorize transfer of responsibilities and result. Area authority shall then authorize transfer of responsibility in surveyor form. Forms shall then be given to HSE supervisor for permit control, numbering, and, and signaturing number one. Hmm. Then we go to distribution. Signed permit to work with all attachments shall be copied and distributed as follows. Original to EPC contractor, subcontractor, supervisor controlling work as first copy, area authority and second copy HSC representative. Upon distribution, work covered by permit may commence. Revalidation. What to do? Revalidation. Area authority shall approve daily recommencements of work by signing off and notifying time and date of revalidation. In cases where conditions change of terms and are not implemented in line to conformance of permit, area authority shall withdraw permit. After conditions are reinstated, application for another permit shall be processed. Suspension of work. It's fleeting, All EPC contractor supervisors are demonstrate a level of control on all permit to work activities, including those of subcontractors. Where breaches of permit to work system are identified, EPC contractor, field superintendent, and supervisory staff shall formally work sus- suspend work and sign off permit to work. Upon suspension of work, those responsible for work, subcontractors, etc., shall revisit workplace and formally submit a revised permit to work, allowing at least 24 hours for for deliveries. Well, it's difficult, no, cool. All EPC contractor supervisors are to demonstrate a level of control on all permits to work. Where breaches of permit to work systems are identified, EPC contractor, field superintendent, and supervisory staff shall formally suspend work and sign off permit to work. Upon suspension of work, those responsible for work, subcontractors, etc., shall revisit workplace and formally submit a revised permit to work, allowing at least 24 hours for reviewing and revalidation of potential to work. Upon cancellation and suspension of permit to work, subcontractors Operatives are also to be formally made aware that access to work area is not allowed or permitted until appropriate corrective action has been taken to make area safe and go ahead for either representative area or a then work completion and permit cessation signing off. Work completion and permit cessation signing off. When supervisor is satisfied that permitted work has been completed or suspended for a sufficient length of time to warrant permit closure, supervisor shall agree with area authority and other relevant signatories that work is now complete or has been completed to an extent could be possible. All right. When supervisor is satisfied that permitted work has been completed or suspended for sufficient length of time to warrant permit closure, supervisor shall agree with area authority and other relevant signatories that work is now complete or has been completed or to an extent it could be possible. Note: situations may occur when where full scope of work cannot be completed. Example for explanation: a pump has been removed for repair, isolations are still in effect and shall remain. uh, hmm. Example for explanation: a pump has been removed for repair, isolations are still in effect and shall remain so until pump and all connections have been replaced under a different personnel. Where a pump has been removed for repair, isolations are still in effect and shall remain so until pump and all connections are. Permit requirements have been cleared. Supervisor shall ensure before signing off permit that following activities have been undertaken. Permit requirements have been cleared. Area of the system is left in a safe condition. Materials have been cleared from work location. Personnel removed from work area. All necessary personnel have been informed about closure. Supervisor add. Okay. Supervisor shall ensure before signing off permit that following activities have been undertaken. Permit requirements have been cleared. Area system is left in a safe condition. Materials have been cleared from work location. Personnel removed from work area. All necessary personnel have been informed about closure. Supervisor shall then sign a permit to confirm whether a completion was safe. Mm. All again I'm telling you, permit requirements have been cleared, area systems left in safe condition, material have been cleared, that is okay. Materials have been cleared from work location, personnel removed from work area, all necessary personnel have been informed about closure on I don't know, all necessary personnel have been informed about closure. Supervisor shall then sign off permit to perform whether work, work, work completion, mechanical, electrical, and pre-commissioning, commissioning competent foreign person shall ensure that that all then permit shall then be signed off as appropriate by competent person. Supervisor shall then take risk of. Hmm. This permit is then no longer valid for further work because before the supervisor shall then take signed off copy to HSE supervisor. Uh, or area authority shall monitor and main audit work to ensure timely choice and all weather conditions due mm. Area authority shall monitor and audit work to ensure timely closure and return of permit. If applicable, permit transference shall be indicated on, and area authority should then sign off for close out of permit. Permit shall then be deemed invalid for whatever future work connected to that permit. So these are points. Let us repeat these points. One is permit requirement have been cleared, area systems left in safe condition, material have been cleared from work location, personnel removed from work area, all necessary personnel have been informed about closure, supervisor shall then sign off permit to confirm work completion, mechanical, electrical, pre-commissioning, commissioning competent persons shall ensure that all the isolations covered by this permit have been removed or transferred. Permit shall then be signed off as appropriate by competent person. Supervisor shall then take sign of copy to HSE supervisor who would attach to original permit and sign of original. This permit is then no longer valid for further work. Area authority shall monitor and audit work, ensure morality, visuality. Now we go to records. So, original document of completed close permit shall be documented in a master file by HSE manager for history of work carried out. In addition, a register shall also be documented detailing permits issued. These documents in some cases may be used in litigation and should be treated as project legal documents. References. Permit to work may be required to cover scope within following activities, safety method statements. Construction site mobilization, required HSE plan, records of existing services, site scanning surveys. Excavation safety, safety for equipment, site and surrounding services. Safe practices, general and specific methods to be adopted. Temporary and electrics, from where electric supply to be provided, and relevant permission or provision. Okay. Permit to work may be required to cover the scope within following activities, safety method statements. Again, I am saying construction site mobilization, required access plans, record of existing services, site scanning surveys, excavation safety, safety for equipment, site and surrounding services, safe practice in general and specific method to be adopted, temporary electrics from where electric supply to be provided, and relevant permissions or precautions, for example, generator to be provided in oil plant area, hazard controls methods to control activity related hazards, working at height provisions respecting special belts and other equipment, confined space entry and confined space entry, artwork permits, lifting operations, hold on, confined space entry, hot work permit, lifting operations, third party certification respond respecting equipment, safety assessment, adequacy of provisions, then safety assessment, inadequacy of provisions, night working, is it really essential, and if it does so, if so, does not disturb residents or others. Safety in radiographic operations, consideration about barricading, radiations, and only authorized personnel to is safety in radiographic operations, considering about barricading radiations and only authorized personnel to ingress areas, safety issuing yes, safety and duty of operations, consideration about barricading, radiations, and only authorized personnel to ingress area, scaffolding, competent professional management on designs, personal protective equipment, all possible equipment including respiratory one, isolating degrees and locking. And then how work is done on the permit on projects, major projects where work goes on hot or cold. It's very important. It's very important. Explained by method statement, and that's written here on text as well. You can read that. That's very interesting one. Though it's simple and it's technical, it's very much, you can say, not common. Then it's better for you to understand that. I spoke slowly because it's for you to get each and every word. Otherwise, I repeated also at many locations. I took response also at many locations. For purpose of that, you take time. Now I go to other one, and that is housekeeping. Housekeeping, which is chapter 7, the same thing happens, but it's housekeeping. Question is, house means wherever you work, it's a home, or his office, or his kitchen, or somewhere else. It's all housing. The building itself is house, so we call it housekeeping, how to keep your building. And same type of scope, you say scope, purpose, definitions, responsibilities, instructions, references, attachments. Title is housekeeping. And scope is this procedure applies to all works, all areas of work, including offices, laboratories, workshops, fabrication yards, welfare facilities, and construction sites. Also apply to life camp areas, including messing, toilets, recreation, washing areas, laundries, security guards, external landscape, etc. No area is left in this. It covers each and every area contained within that working zone or working site camp. And purpose is purpose for the procedure is to outline requirements for managing and controlling housekeeping operations during project construction and commissioning. Once again, purpose of this procedure is to outline requirements for managing and controlling housekeeping operations during project construction and commissioning. Housekeeping is considered a delicate health issue and in general is ignored, but it requires attention from seniors from all disciplines. Definitions, same definitions as before it was, but I will name it and you take something. Safety means safety, health, and environment disciplines to support project activities. Company means the organization carrying out of prosecuting projects, then contractor and then subcontractor and client, as I told you for all. Personal means work, personal means staff or all that. Responsibility and training and management, and then safety manager and project manager, engineer, and I need not repeat all those definitions to you. Otherwise, you just think fast there, you'll get all this, and you can stand and see what they're doing. So go to, as I saw, was employer or solver, I have some responsibilities of general respecters of the contract negotiations I explained to you. And again, responsibilities we have explained to you, all that was here. So we will just go to the lesson. I'll take this responsibilities. So I leave this designations. I take responsibilities, and maybe it's few, not all. Contractor site manager ensure that housekeeping practices are applied in conformance with this procedure and also other standard practice requirements implemented directly and through subcontractors. Contractor health, safety, and environment manager responsible for practical developments of this procedure and monitoring compliance. Subcontractor site manager shall ensure that sufficient resources are available. Okay, beautiful light comes, it's getting very hot. Uh, Contractor health, safety, environment manager responsible for practical development of this procedure and monitoring. Subcontractor site manager responsible ensure that sufficient resources are provided to implement this procedure and that procedure is applied correctly. Strict subcontractor site supervisor safety manager shall assign duties under on this procedure for establishment and maintenance of good housekeeping standards. Shall carry out regular inspections of all areas under respective control to ensure compliance. One, two. Yeah. Shall report to subcontractor site manager all concerns noted with application of this procedure. An adequate number of containers for storage and disposal of waste material shall be strategically placed all over construction areas, camps, and temporary facilities. Spillages such as oil or grease shall be immediately cleared by absorption and either using inert sand or other suitable materials. Toxic, corrosive, or other hazardous liquids shall be cleared up in accordance with either manufacturer's instructions or complying with instructions given on material safety data sheet. All materials used to mop up spills shall be immediately removed to a safe place and stored in closed containers for safe disposal. Cables and hoses shall be routed wherever possible above grade or concealed below ground to eliminate tripling hazards is very important. Cables and hoses shall be routed wherever possible above grade or concealed below ground to eliminate tripping hazards. Shuttering and other timber articles shall be derailed, stacked, and placed in a barricaded location away from work. Shuttering and other timber articles shall be detailed, stacked, and placed in a barricaded location away from work areas and access. Roots, nails shall be removed from all, all areas. Scaffolds, scaffolds, working platforms, and walkways shall be cleared and loose material removed on a daily basis. Designated areas shall be identified for racking and storage of scaffolds, tubes, and fittings. When materials are being removed from elevated structure or taken to such structures, proper arrangements shall be made to eliminate risk of injury to personnel working in such area by random availability of barriers, loose material conservation. What to do? Designated areas shall be identified for racking and storage of scaffold tubes and fittings where metals are being removed from elevated structures or taken to such structures. Proper arrangements shall be made to eliminate risks of injury to personnel working in such areas by random availability of barriers, loose materials, packing, etc. Where metals are being removed from elevated structures or taken to such structures, proper arrangements of which no. Mm. Where metals are being removed from elevated structures or taken to such structures, proper arrangements shall have to be made to eliminate risk of injury or personal working on such areas by random and availability of barriers, loose materials, packing. A concrete washing area shall be identified for concrete trucks to prevent buildup of waste concrete in site areas. External areas shall be frequently water sprayed. External areas shall be frequently water sprayed to prevent dust blowing in environment. All accumulated materials collected from all areas shall be as soon as possible feasible removed from site using shovel and tipper. Site should be seen clean, which gives a better look, and working in such conditions give pleasure. During concrete pouring, concrete is dropped from pump as well as from concrete truck due to fatigue, impact on concrete crew, due to fatigue, impact on concrete crew, dropped concrete is not removed from location as on 21st. On concrete crew, dropped concrete is not removed from site locations at end of pouring activity, which results in solidification of concrete. It has been experienced from sites that such wastage concrete pieces of concrete remains on locations. Right. It has been experienced from site that such waste concrete remains on locations for longer and removed when finishing activities start. Such ignorance does not help keep site tidy and action. So I said such ignorance does not help keep sites tidy and also it's not environmentally friendly. During steel reinforcement, cutting and fabrication activity, mounts of cut steel pieces remain on sites for months, adding to untidy conditions of site. This is requiring, this is requiring, mm, during steel reinforcement, cutting and fabrication activity, mounts of can cut steel pieces remain on site for months, adding to untidy conditions of site. This steel quantity is kept either for use further on smaller on members or for sale as scrap. We should not cluster on site to cause obstruction. It's recommended to remove such scrap from roadside. Okay. Steel quantities kept either for use further on smaller members of sales scrap should not cluster on site to cause obstruction. It's recommended to remove such scraps as soon as better possible so that this obstruction of site and chances of punctures and injuries to someone could be minimized. During wooden during wooden formwork fabrication, timber is used in large quantity, giving rise to piles of considerable quantity of wooden powder and smaller pieces of cut wood and cut ply. Such cut pieces are prone to catch fire in hot weather. These pieces should not cluster, not cluster on site areas. Moreover, then these pieces should not cluster on site areas. Moreover, when blown with high winds, these pieces are flown to spoil site areas and threaten to enter into eyes and nose. Remove such waste sooner would be better. Okay. All working areas shall be cleaned daily when work is closed. Maintenance workshops. Flammable liquids, including paints, thinners, and solvents, shall be kept in purpose built containers away from sources of ignition. Rags, cardboards, or other carbonaceous materials contaminated by oil or other combustibles shall be disposed of on a regular basis to prevent hazard buildup and would be placed in a sealed container. Areas around grinders, lathe, well, maintenance workshops. That's all this. Flammable liquids, including paints, thinners, and solvents, shall be kept in purpose-built containers away from source of ignition. Rags, cardboards, or other carbonaceous materials contaminated by oil and the combustibles shall be disposed of on a regular basis to prevent hazards build-up and would be placed in a sealed cover container. Areas around grinders, lathes, and other rotating equipment shall be kept free of trip hazards and would have safe access maintained. Maintenance pits shall be regularly cleaned up and have all liquid build up removed. Access around grinders, lathes, and other rotating equipment shall be general considerations. One more thing is left there, I think. Areas around grinders, lathes, and other rotating equipment shall be kept free of productive hazards and would have effects scientific. General considerations. When storing or placing materials such as boxes, pallets, or containers, supervisors shall ensure that they, they- well, when storing or placing materials such as boxes, pallets, or containers, supervisors shall ensure that they do not pose a threat to workers from elevated stacking, lifting, tripping, or blocking egress routes. Laboratories and workshops shall be maintained clear of debris, waste, and other rubbish which would be disposed of in accordance with manufacturer's guidelines and meet environmental control requirements. Nominated subcontractors shall ensure that sufficient time is allowed to clear each day's accumulated construction waste and general rubbish. From time to time, contractor may require use of specialist crews to do a general site or specific area cleanup. Instances of poor housekeeping that results in creation of a tripping, slipping, or fire hazard shall be immediately dealt with. Materials shall be stacked and stored in a safe manner that prevents sliding, falling, windows. Instances of poor housekeeping that results in creation of a tripping, slipping, or fire hazard shall be immediately dealt with. Materials shall be stacked and stored in a safe manner that prevents sliding, falling, or collapse. Waste disposal containers shall be positioned to receive food waste. Other areas used for eating shall be kept clean and tidy. Such areas are required to be air conditioned or at least well ventilated. Other areas used for eating shall be kept clean and tidy. Such areas are required to be air conditioned or at least well ventilated. Water should not be allowed to be spread. Water should not be allowed to be spread all over site. Proper training or arrangement must be made. Trying out arrangement. Air blown over plastic bags and other papers shared by and large. Hmm. Water should not be allowed to be spread all over site. Proper draining out arrangements must be made. Air all blown over plastic bags and other rubbish papers should be removed promptly. Site and camp sewage should be emptied out frequently using sewage transport tankers. Sewage contamination is reduced. Uh, Water should not be allowed to be spread all over site. Proper draining out arrangement must be made. All blown over plastic bags and other rubbish papers should be removed promptly. Site and camp sewage should be emptied out frequently using sewerage transport tankers. Sewage containment is recommended in place of septic tanks on those sites where connections to municipal drainage are not available. Containments do not allow water to come out of containment to flow into soil. Containments are environmentally friendly. This is about that one, and now it's regarding housekeeping, and now it is safety training. Maybe I like to take next. Let's discuss 5 minutes, and then we can see training is a master not master. There's only 4 pages, the not big one. So we can say safety training, and I say something safety training here is scope and what we can say the scope, purpose, definitions, responsibility, instructions, jobs, and attachment. The scope is very important. This procedure applies to all construction safety training activities to be conducted on project undertaken by EPC contractor. As such, it could be a requirement for revision, updating when project requires further attainment on safety training to be identified for imparting to personnel workers. Purposes this procedure provides guidelines for types and classes of training to be provided on construction projects. So training courses should be devised with an intention that training find it interesting to useful and it's interesting and useful. It should help safety project organization and personnel. Once personnel are named, it is made in virtual assets for organizations. Definitions: aim, safety means, and company means, and contractor means, and subcontractor means, and client means, and personal means, and responsibility means. and training means, and management means, and safety means, and manager means, and project manager, and all that we discussed before. No need of explaining them. Waste time. Let's go to responsibility. Same project manager, all the same site manager, same, oh yeah, all this responsibility same. Follow that in. Now we go to responsibilities. Yes, it's same EPC contractor, all EPC contractor HSC, and that followed all the instructions. New start induction. New start induction instructions. All employees on being assigned to a construction project, regardless of experience, shall receive a new start induction covering following points: project overview, a description of project, and an understanding of hazards. EPC contractor, commitment to HSC and overview of HSC management system. Site organization and a description of how project is structured. Individual responsibilities, zero accident philosophy, principal hazards, attainment program, elements, uh, hold on, something else somewhere. Wait a minute. Project overview, a description of project and understanding of hazards, EPC contractor, commitment of HSC and overall overview of HSC management system, site organization and description of how project is structured, and individual responsibility and zero accident philosophy. Principal hazards is in construction, temporary and permanent tactical systems, working program elements, safety assessments, steering committee, self assessment program, safety inspections, site security arrangements, disciplinary procedures. Program elements, safety assessments, steering committee, self-assessment program, safety inspections, site security arrangements, disciplinary procedures. Overview of site rules and regulations, risk assessments, start card JHA, task stocks and toolbar stocks, incident reporting, hazard reporting, medical protocol, emergency procedure, emergency evacuation, housekeeping and waste management, environmental considerations, health and welfare, plant and equipment, working at height, material handling, working at heights and material handling, fire prevention, personal protective equipment, job site materials, and and working at height, material handling, fire protection, personal protective equipment, job site sanitary arrangements, and policy. Job site sanitary arrangements and policy is before the fire prevention and material handling, fire prevention, personal protective equipment, job site sanitary arrangements and policies, smoking policy, job site driving rules and requirements, incentive schemes and safety. Once again, it is list. This is very important. This is regarding project overview, then management, commitment to HSC and overview of HSC management system, site organization and description of how project is structured, individual responsibility, zero accident philosophy, principal hazards in construction, temporary and permanent tactical systems and program elements, safety assessments, steering committee, self-assessment program, safety inspections, site security arrangements, disciplinary procedure, overview of site rules and regulations, risk assessment, start JHA, task talks and task tool talks and indent reporting, hazards reporting, medical reporting protocol, emergency procedures, emergency evacuation, housekeeping, and with incident reporting, hazards reporting, medical protocol, emergency procedures, emergency evacuation, housekeeping, and waste management. Environmental considerations, health and welfare, plant and equipment working at height, material handling, fire prevention, personal protective equipment, job site sanitary arrangements and policies, smoking policy, job site driving rules and requirements. Okay. Personal protective equipment, job site sanitary arrangements and policies, working policy, job site driving rules and requirements, incentives, schemes and safety awards, line management, then it is in supervisory training. Line management and supervisory training. Line management supervisory shall be instructed in expectations of HSE and its program and specifically must have following explained HSE and responsibilities, communications, effective toolbox talks and task training, implementation of START and JHA programs, incident cause and analysis, job site monitoring and inspections, hazard conditions, safety leadership training. Line management shall be expected to review those requiring safety training to determine their level of experience, skill, and appropriate